Hey guys, welcome back to another DJ Pep video. Today we're going to talk about prepared playlists or freestyle. So welcome back to another video. One thing that I always am stressed about is, will I do a gig freestyle or will I prepare my playlists? Now obviously this is a choice that you probably are going to make at home. I also noticed that there are DJs who really can freestyle great, just come in there at the venue, at the gig, put in their SD cards and just play whatever they like or play whatever the crowd wants them to. Other DJs like to play with a prepared playlist. For instance, one of my, or I think this is my favorite DJ, DJ Jazzy Jeff, obviously has his prepared playlists. This really sounds cool because you just constantly get surprised with what's happening, and the blends and the mixes that he makes are just so clean and so nice. You only can, and so fast as well, that you can only do this with a prepared list. Now I'm sure not everything is prepared that he does, because you also have to be able to freestyle whenever the crowd is not feeling what you're doing. So you also have to be prepared with for what's coming to you, and be able to dig in your crates and find the music that you need. Or for instance, if the crowd really feels a certain vibe that you just inserted and that vibe is almost ending because your playlist wants you to play something different, then you have to be able to extend that vibe. So a few things are pretty important for this. First of all is that you are really known with your own structure that you have in your laptop. Or on your SD card, you probably have a structure that you are really comfortable with and that you can really dig into really fast. Now, one of the first rules is that you never take all your music with you. You only have your music with you if you're going to a gig or to a party or to something that you have to play for a crowd that you don't really know. Then you only take the music with you which you are for sure that you can work with. Now I'm having a PC in my living room, and this has like millions of songs in there, and what I have in my laptop is only what I possibly could play in whatever gig. Now, as you know, I'm just an amateur DJ, so it's not that I'm playing like every week somewhere and have all different kinds of crowds. My playlists are kind of getting there because I have certain parties that I do. First of all is within my own age group, I have some people turning 40, turning 50, and sometimes even I have some colleagues turning 60. And they all ask me, could you play for us at my party, because I'm throwing this really big party and it would be nice. And also sometimes at a wedding, for instance. Now, since these are the gigs that I'm playing outside of my home, because the main thing is still that I like to play at home for just close friends and stuff like that. Since these are the parties that I'm playing, I have certain playlists prepared. First of all, let me show you my basic structure where I first started. Now I have to be honest that my playlists are not that structured at all, but I can find everything that I want. Let me show you how my playlist works. So first of all, the basic thing that Tractor, you know that I'm playing with Tractor. I just have the basic file structure where all my songs are. These are not my playlists, but these are just my folder structures. Now these folder structures are really, really messy because I never thought that I would play outside of my home. So these folders are still like they first started a few years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. I just never thought of anything how I should structure my folders. So I just call it mix and crates. And within mix and crates, I have a few folders. And now, I also told you already, I'm really a hip-hop DJ, so everything is kind of based around hip-hop and R&B. And next to that, I like to do some side steps for like deep house or some techno house or some jacking, funky groove songs. So this built it up later on as people were asking. I noticed that people were asking these kind of songs as well. So I've got my old school hip-hop, I got my mid-school hip-hop. Mid-school is, in my opinion, like 2000 and up. And then you have new school hip-hop, which is like 2015 and up. So within those, I have all these kind of folders as well. And these are based around the artists. Now sometimes I just have one song of an artist and I don't make a special folder for that. I just call it, if it's like nice single songs, something like that, within the old school, mid school or new school. So these are based around artists. Then I've got my 90s hits, I've got my acapellas, I've got some dancehall and reggae, deep, nice hip hop. Only one song, I don't know why this is. I've got my DJ kicks, which are bass loops and stuff like that, and some stems as well. Then I've got my instrumentals, then some Dutch hip hop, etc. And then I have my non-rap. And within non-rap, I have all these artists, but also like club and EDM, artists, and other non-rap, obviously. So this is a really long list, as you can see. So this is only my folder structure. So if I would ever had to play with, for instance, Serato or another, or a record box or whatever, I would have to take my SD card, and then I have to dig in these crates. That would be horrible, because I cannot find my way within these crates. Where I can find my way, and this is a handicap for me. So this is also something why I am really constantly thinking more and more to switch over to, for instance, a record box or Serato DJ. I have to be honest, because this is a handicap for me, and just I could play from these crates, but you want to make playlists. And the playlists, this is where I'm comfortable with. I've got another structure in my playlist, so I've built all my experience and what works and what not, and I've put that in playlists, and these are the playlists. So I've got ABC, I've got my hip hop, my instrumentals and my acapellas. I've got my house, which is also kind of non-rap, but really dance kind of stuff. I've got my mainstream, and within mainstream, I have some really common folders, which are 1 to 6, which is classic pop, 80s songs, 90s hits, 00 hits, modern pop hits, funky groove and jackin', and some dance, some disco, some funk and soul, some Dutch pop, rock, etc. And then, so these are basically the folders which are not really structured, but I can dig in. So if they are really into classic pop, I just can jump into classic pop and I find all my songs there. If they're really into 80s songs, I just can go over to 80s songs. I can extend my mix, which I'm doing at that moment live. And okay, you want more of 80s songs? Let me go to 80s songs. You also sometimes, depending on the gig, you can find them here in the top, which is a quick bar, a quick link, and there I can jump into whatever I need. The playlist folder here is just all mixes that I ever made, or maybe for a certain party. So I have this friend, and I see his name, and then I know, oh yeah, I played that at his party the other day, and I can go to that folder because I once made that list. So why should I bother and delete it? Okay, if it's really getting messy, I can just delete it, but why not? If it was a good gig and people were into it, I can even jump to that list which I did then. So all the mixes I ever made, also all the mixes from my Mixcloud, for instance, are here. Because it's really nice if you have, for instance, a nice, if you ever made a nice mixtape which you really prepared and for specifically 1 hour, it's nice to just, if you have to fill in something, I can jump to my mixtape from 1 year ago, and I know that that mixtape is really nice and really blends, and you just can play a part of your mixtape. So these are all my mixtapes that I find here. Now I also sorted, I never used this to be honest. These are really party kind of bangers. I've got party between 120, 140 BPM, party hip hop, another party hip hop, I don't know why, party mellow, mainstream hip hop, Dutch, new school, whatever. I never used this to be honest. So these are the playlists that I prepared previously, and where I dig in are just these. So we were talking about, do you prepare your playlist or do you play freestyle? I am a prepared DJ. I like to come prepared, also probably because I'm not as experienced as others. And the nice thing is, I told you in another video, I think sometimes I play back to back with other DJs who are really, really experienced. And these get me out of my comfort zone, which is really nice. So I come with my prepared playlists, and if I know, for instance, I have, you can see it here, on the 11th of November I have this gig, pretty big gig with 100 people. I'm gonna play at that gig. Why? Because it's all my age, so I'm really comfortable with that. I've done that before. I know I can really vibe that crowd, but still, it's nice if you have a backup. And I know there are two DJs who I will play with. One of the DJs I already played back to back. He will come in pretty late, and the other one I'll plug in his Serato decks. He's just at that party, and I just can sign him. Okay, let's do a little back to back. If I'm out of, if I feel like it. And then it's nice that you also can go out of your playlist, because he's going to surprise me with his songs that he would like to play, or he feels the audience maybe a little bit different than I do. And then he takes me out of my comfort zone, I go out of my playlist, and I have to connect with him. So he will play probably 10 or 15 minutes, and then I have to dig in my crates. But that gives me some time. And for instance, if he's going to do some reggae or dancehall, at that moment, I've got enough reggae and dancehall. I think, okay, you're going to play that, the crowd is feeling it, I can catch up with that, or I can go from there. So then I have to be prepared. But if he doesn't want to play, which is great, or if I'm really having that crowd at that moment, I just want to continue. Then I'm playing with my playlist. For instance, so this is my playlist. I've got here like prepared 290 songs, and I'm going to show you how I prepare such a playlist. So this is for crowd of like born around 75 and 80. Okay, so this is the crowd that I'm talking about. So the 80s and the 90s will be kind of the core, because these people just want to feel young again. That's what works, but you cannot fill the entire evening for 3-4 hours with only 80s and 90s, because then they get bored. So you have to mix that. So what I have in all my playlists is I have obviously genres. I don't really look at the genres a lot. Sometimes I even forget to insert them, as you can see. I use my comments, I use my rating, and obviously the song name and artist, etc. So these are really important, the comments and the stars, because I can see from the stars that these are really vibey, really good songs that I always can jump to if I need something. So I can always, I call that the high stars songs. Second to that, you have the comment, and the comment tells me if it's a warm-up song, if it's a first steps song, if it's a cool down song, or if it's a party song. If it's a party song, you really can dance to it. If it's a warm-up song, it's just when people are talking to each other, having their first drinks at the start of the evening. If it's a First Steps song, these are just my names. First Steps is first people, I want to have the first people on the dance floor, or I want them to loosen up and start, I want to start, really want to start the party. So if it's, for instance, 11 o'clock and the night will be until 1 or 30 past 1, then I know I really have to have them on the dance floor now. So I only play First Steps and start with the party songs. Now I'm not thinking that I think they will start more early, but around 10 o'clock I really want them to start dancing, or 9:30. These are the First Step songs. So the first part, you see, I have a lot. Sometimes called it build up. So these are typical build up songs. And for instance, let me just here, let me have a look. I don't know, yeah, this is just a background song. Oh. Let me press record. So this is a typical background song, okay? This is Suit and Tie of Justin Timberlake and Jay-Z. You're not gonna dance to this. This doesn't ask you to do the first steps. You're not even, you're just really like talking, okay? But a warm-up is kind of the same for me. Warm-up, for instance, this is also, maybe this could be First Steps, but still, this is just warm-up, okay? Now, First Steps is a little bit different. These are more the First Steps songs. Okay, so this is a little bit more up-tempo, and yeah, I think that will be more First Steps. Another one, this is more dance, you know? So this is more First Step. This is really to get people to that dance floor. Now after that, you want to go to the party. So I always have my starters. Sometimes I have the second column and I call it start. So this could be a party starter. And sometimes I've got like hot there. So I know, okay, I need these songs to really get that party starting. But you can see from the First Steps and warm up, it really goes to party, only party. You get my drift. And there's a really build up in this. So for instance, this playlist really has this start. It's around the people who were born between 75 and 80, for instance. So I've got the start, then I start with the party. I give them some mainstream, recognizable stuff. I don't pull them all in at once at the 80s or 90s. What I personally like is to do a little bit of the flow in the years. So for instance, I start with disco songs. Then I go to a little bit of rock songs like Mick Jagger or David Bowie or Queen or Prince even. And then after that, then I go a little bit to 80s. For instance, Gloria Estefan or Miami Sound Machine, kind of like the 80s, or Wham. And then after the 80s, I go to the 90s. And this is my big chunk. I go to 90s, but I don't play 90s all the time because they will get bored of that. So sometimes I just switch over to some funk, some groove. For instance, the sample songs first, and then after that we go to the 90s. So you spread that a little bit. And then after 90s, I go to more mainstream and maybe dance or some little bit really like some techno or some jacking is always nice. Some more up tempo, obviously. And most of the time I just see from there, because then they had their drinks, they had their dance already, and I just look at them what they want and what they want to hear and maybe what I would like to play. So my playlist kind of ends at the end of the 90s when I go really deep in the night. Then I just play freestyle, and also I already did my thing. I had everybody on the floor, so then you can go free, but you still have to dig in your crate. And really handy, I think this works with Serato as well. If I just press on this magnifying glass and I want 122 BPMs, I just press it and I have everything around 122 BPMs. Then I can even sort on my high stars, because and then I'm hot, I'm playing, so I need to make my choices quick. And then I can go to my high stars, for instance, and I can dig in there. Is this something? I can look at my genre, or I immediately find a song that I need. Or I can press on party, and I only have the party songs from all my different crates. So this gives me a little bit more ease how to find what I am looking for. Now, I was talking about those playlists, prepared playlists or playlists which I did before. These are also really handy because obviously they have some gimmicks in there. In my previous video, I showed you that some transitions are nice to do and give you that signature. And I know that I have my signatures in my playlist constantly. Around every 10 minutes I have something that I do which is nice. For instance, it's just random like this. I have Satisfaction playing, and I know that this is the switch from rock to more mainstream dance. Let me show you. So Satisfaction is playing. I wind it up a little bit, and I've got this song from Come and Ride My Train, which really blends. So if I'm not gonna wait for the cue, I know that this blends. So you hear that that's a really nice transition. And I always have this in my playlists. So if I have a certain playlist, for instance in disco, or a certain senior playlist that I played before, or from this friend, or from the gig the other night, then I can go to these transitions and jump to them immediately. This is why I prepare my playlist, because you don't do this within your disco playlist. You don't have these transitions from one genre to another. And I have several of these in my playlist. For instance, if I'm playing Susanna Vega here with Tom's Dinner, I've got even got my scratch sample prepared, because what I like to do in this song is, let me show you. If I am at the break, I just put in I immediately have my scratch sample ready, and now I have to press 3 for the sample, and I can do this. So that's something that I also have prepared just in my playlist. And after that I go to, obviously, what I see here is go to Ignition of R. Kelly. So I don't know if I'm going to use that, but I've got it prepared in my playlist. And this is why I like the playlist, because I know that I've got these surprises built in, and I've got my transitions from the one genre to the other genre, and I have several choices. I don't play all these songs at all, make no mistake. I just pick them, and they are concentrated together in chunks. And I don't really play all the chunks, because that's depending on the people and the crowd. If the crowd doesn't feel that chunk, for instance, I have a really big dancehall and reggae part here. I don't know if I'm gonna play all of those, but I can play a few. And I know that, oh yeah, this is a good chunk there. Maybe people are feeling it to do that. So, resume. I've got my standard folders. I don't really use those folders. If I would ever have to play with a different set, I don't know how to do it, but probably I can find the song somewhere. I made playlists out of them, and I've sorted them in where I can find my stuff. Next to those playlist folders, which are like 80s, 90s pop I showed you, I've got my specific playlist folders for gigs. Yeah. Oh, and sometimes if this was a really good gig, I just save it. I just don't delete it. I just keep it there where I want, so I can always dive into it if I like. And I prepare my playlist specifically for the crowd which I'm playing. If these are people 40 years old, 50 years old, or 60 years old, for instance, they have all different playlists, and sometimes I can reuse a playlist and I just modify it because I know certain people in the crowd who might like certain songs. And this is how I play. And later on in the evening, if everybody is happy and everybody already danced and I've got a good feeling, then I go a little bit more freestyle and I'll just play whatever they like or whatever feels comfortable. So I hope this helped you a little bit more of becoming a better DJ. Still, I am an amateur. I'm just doing this as a hobby, but I just want to share with you the things that I already found out and work for me. Please subscribe to my channel if you like these videos. Please leave your comments in the comment section below and look at previous videos if you want to see other stuff that I already have discussed. Thank you for watching. Until the next one. Bye.